A number of martyrs fell following terrorist shelling of Damascus, Aleppo and Lattakia with rockets and mortar shells. Iraqi army takes control of several areas and towns near the city of Samarra. The Egyptian army continues a security plan in Sinai and fires a terrorist explosion south of Al-Arish. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Irado Krikorian with the news in English. 5 people have been killed and more than 40 injured in rocket attacks launched by Takfiri terrorists in eastern Ghouta on residential quarters in Damascus and the surroundings of the Umayyad Mosque. Huge material damage was inflicted on houses and several cars were burned. A medical source at al-Assad hospital said the first aid section has received 6 citizens with injuries, including a woman. Damascus Hospital has, on the other hand, received the bodies of 2 martyrs and 22 wounded persons, some of them sustaining serious injuries. 3 citizens, including 2 women, were also killed and 38 others wounded on the 25th of last month in terrorist attacks with mortar shells carried out by the terrorist Takfiri organizations on a number of Damascus neighborhoods. In Aleppo, the terrorist groups fired mortar shells at residential areas and schools in the city. A number of citizens were killed and others injured, including children. The Takfiri's missile shells fell on the Nile Street, inflicting damage on As-Saha Society, the shopping market and citizens' houses. More than 15 cars were destroyed. Sana's correspondent said the shells were fired from Bani Zaid neighborhood, where terrorists were positioned. He added that most of them from the Badr Martyrs Brigade's militias, who receive all kinds of support from the Erdogan regime's intelligence. In Lattakia, 2 citizens were wounded when terrorists fired 2 rocket shells at al-Azhari's residential area in the northwestern outskirts of the city. Material damage was inflicted on a house and several cars in the area. It is to be noted that Takfiri terrorist organizations, including Jabhat al-Nusra, have spread in Lattakia's northern countryside and have constantly received all forms of material and logistic support from regional regimes and forces. It was revealed late last month by the Turkish news media that trucks loaded with Grad missiles had recently been transferred from Antioch to the town of Yayildag and proceeded to Lattakia northern suburbs with the full knowledge and supervision of the Erdogan regime. Syrian Arab Army aircraft targeted a terrorist hideout in eastern Al-Qalamun in Damascus suburbs, destroying a warehouse of missiles and ammunition as well as a number of armored vehicles and killing all the terrorists therein. Syrian Arab Army units targeted ISIL terrorist dens and hideouts in Al-Badran village south of Al-Hasaka countryside, killing several terrorists and wounding many others. The Syrian Arab Army inflicted heavy losses upon the terrorists and destroyed their armored vehicles. Welcome back. Iraq is waging a ferocious war against ISIL terrorists, taking control of several areas near Samarra city and killing 100 gunmen. A military source pointed out that the Iraqi troops shelled ISIL positions and dens in the areas surrounding Samarra, inflicting heavy losses upon them and reportedly killing more than 100 terrorists. The Iraqi troops also intercepted a terrorist attempt to break into a town near Al-Fallujah, killing and wounding dozens of gunmen. In another development, 7 policemen were killed and several others injured by a car explosion near a police center west of Tikrit. The Jordanians condemned the crime committed by ISIL terrorist group against pilot al-Qasasiba, as many politicians and analysts called for coordinating with the Syrian government and army to combat terrorism. Meanwhile, the horrific image of al-Qasasiba's murder by ISIL stands out as a mockery for the total inability of the US and its coalition allies to save hostages or uproot the terrorist group. Analysts say that for all its multi-billion-dollar intelligence gathering agencies, its satellites in space and its highly trained special operations teams, Washington has been unable to mount a successful hostage rescue mission. The killing of al-Qasasiba is a calculated mockery of coalition importance to stop ISIL murdering their hostages in broad daylight. In occupied Palestine, Israeli occupation authorities arrested 11 Palestinian citizens across several areas in the West Bank. A number of Palestinians suffered from suffocation as a result of tear gas fired by Israeli soldiers against civilians in Jenin and Ramallah. Meanwhile, Israeli authorities demolished the village of Bawabat al-Quds in the town of Khallat al-Rahab in Abu Dis near occupied Jerusalem during an incursion after midnight yesterday. Finally, in Egypt, a soldier was killed and another wounded when fire was opened at 2 soldiers in front of a hotel in Al-Arish in Sinai, northeast of the country. Security men encircled the site and combed the area adjacent to it. Meanwhile, security operations by the Egyptian army are underway in Sinai. An attempt to detonate an explosive device planted by terrorists was thwarted south of Al-Arish. 11 Takfiris were captured and a number of their dens and buildings were destroyed south of Sheikh Zweid. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Karun Kürkcan, but after a short break.
Good afternoon. The PCB seeks during its plan for the year 2015 to raise the volume of loans and savings, in addition to improving investment cards rates, which will include 3 categories. 57 billion Syrian pounds allocated to loans, 88 billion Syrian pounds to savings, and 69 billion Syrian pounds to investment cards. 51,005,000 Syrian pounds were allocated to repair and reconstruction activities, as the bank is still waiting for the approval of the central bank for crediting loans to low-income individuals, not to exceed the limit of 300 Syrian pounds each. Member of the transport sector in Damascus Governorate says a decision has been taken to distribute diesel via 7 public transport lines outlets at a rate of 40 liters a day and at the regular price to be delivered to minibuses working inside the city. A meeting will be held with the concerned authorities at Damascus Countryside Governorate to specify the necessary tariff for the minibuses that go from the city into its outskirts in order to introduce amendments on the transport tariffs. Oil prices crashed yesterday, with U.S. crude losing 9% in one of its biggest daily routes ever, as record high oil inventories in the United States cut short a 4-day rally. U.S. stock futures move higher as the market pushes worries about Greece aside, with weekly jobless claims and unit labor costs due for release later. On the other hand, the European stocks struggled a day after the European Central Bank decided to play hardball with Greece, saying the country couldn't use its bonds directly. After 2 days of losses, gold prices recovered to trade near $28,300 per 10 grams at the bullion market today, following emergence of buying by jewelers and retailers to meet its ongoing demand. The euro was driven higher against the dollar, hitting $1.14, up 0.9% today, with traders stating that the Swiss National Bank was buying euros in order to weaken the franc. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we reach the end of our news. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.